Well, hello out there in Rando Land. Tonight, I'm Neon Tiger, and welcome to another match here in ALTTPR League Season 3. It's Week 4. Spoiler log, key sanity time between Tile Roomies and the Immortals here. So, we have for Tile Roomies tonight, we have rdwalsh, who has a Hazuketi as their pilot, and DukeFireBird, who has Roach as their pilot. And I'm, of course, joined tonight by Lumaga. How you doing?
Really good. I was excited to see the first race between these two teams yesterday. Same pilots, different runners. So if you didn't get a chance to see it, it was a very, very close match. And credit goes to both the runners and their pilots. I'm excited to see what happens today.
Yeah, these are two very good teams. We were all just having a talk before about that. The Invitational. This is the Invitational League. These are all some of the top teams that we have in this tournament. It's some tight racing here in the Skull Woods division. There's not much gap here between second place and like seventh. So these are all important games.
Yeah, these two teams in particular came in yesterday tied at a record of 3-3. This will be, their second game. Someone's going to head up a little bit in the standings, but like you said, any one of these divisions is rough. Skull Woods is no exception here.
And just to actually clarify, because I also see a question in the chat, since this is spoiler log, what a pilot is each of these runners, so rdwalsh and Duke, will each have a teammate with them, respectively Hazuketi and Roach, who will have access to the spoiler log, and what they'll be able to do is kind of guide each runner through the route that they need to go through to beat the game quickly.
Yeah, quite an interesting mode, and you don't see it a lot outside of a league. There was a whole spoiler log tournament, but this is where you have somebody kind of dictating where you should go. It really relies on knowledge of your runners, how well they can do maybe a low percent fight. Really relies on you trusting your pilot that they're not sending you off where you're not supposed to go. So really, really interesting dynamic this week.
Yeah, it's always kind of interesting to see what each runner is going to prioritize for this seed, because how, like you mentioned, Lumaga, how close you're going to dance to that edge of low percent is really going to determine what you're going to go after, what you're going to pick up, what you're going to skip, and that could have a fairly significant effect on your overall time.
All right, getting started here. So just as the runners begin, the pilots immediately have access to the spoiler log. No time to study. So no surprise that they'll both grab the first chest they see, 50 rupees to start them off.
And that's one of the things too that's really interesting with having your teammates assigned here on the pilot situation. Now, I think you mentioned it briefly, Lumaga, but we're seeing one of the two different ways that I've seen teams set this up, which is you have basically your two runners on your team. You've figured that out early in the week, and you have your third runner who's not running be the designated pilot for both runners. The other way I've seen it done is basically you pick your two runners and have them pilot for each other, as we're seeing Duke go get Ether out of the mushroom spot, and rdwalsh is doing a Houlihan to get some money.
Yeah, and the Houlihan strat's a really good one because it gives time to your pilot to process where to go next. And as you see, exiting Houlihan starts you off at Link's house, so you could very easily pop in and get that chest. Did get a sword for DukeFireBird in the Lost Woods hideout.
Right, and that's actually a really good point that you bring up as well, Lumaga, here for our pilots is we mentioned that they get the spoiler log right as the race starts, so they're having to read this in real time, and you really want to make sure that you get, if you have a bunch of items that you can grab early, you want to make sure that you send your teammate out to get those as soon as possible. So buying that extra time with Houlihan does serve a little bit of a benefit here for Tower roomies. Of course, that's the other thing too, is you have to pick up these big keys because it is key sanity. So here's the lamp.
Yeah, and in maybe an open seed, you might go grab some bombs or buy some bombs before you head to the well and Blind's hideout here, but didn't have any. Possibly doesn't need them if there's just junk in that top chest or that top chest of the well.
Indeed, Duke's getting a whole bunch of extra rupees here. One would be thinking that he's getting some direction from Roach on that. I want to make sure, you always want to make sure that you're picking up stuff here. Maybe hadn't quite got to the bottle vendor yet. That's also.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say that's also a thing we're probably gonna see. Is we'll just see some of these runners, if they've got an opportunity to go check something, even if their pilot hasn't gotten to that yet, you might just see them check it just to be sure. Maybe save a bit of time, and that was not the situation where that was helpful. But we did find the key to Swamp Palace.
Yeah, a lot of big keys here early on. We saw Ice, Thieves Town, now Swamp, and kind of like you mentioned, you might have somebody go pick up a specific chest, say in Hype Cave or Paradox Cave. You direct them to the exact 1 or 3 or whatever, or you could just let them go into there and they decide, yep, I'll just get them all. You tell me where to go next. It's a really weird communication dynamic that each team has to figure out for themselves.
And also worth noting, we did have a question from Gary's son about what the spoiler log entries look like, and Hazukitty gave a nice example there. Just something kind of generic. So that's how I look in the spoiler log. Basically, you get a location and you get an item there as it's coded into the randomizer. So you may have to do a little bit of searching through the document. And it doesn't. One of the things to keep in mind too is it doesn't, for like these progressive upgrades like bow and gloves, mail, stuff like that. It doesn't tell you specifically that this is going to be your red mail or your blue mail or whatever. It just basically says progressive mail. So you kind of have to know where those locations are and if you can even get to them with what you've got.
And other questions, are they listed in a specific order? Kind of. They're grouped together by dungeon. So you'll see Hyrule Castle, Eastern Palace, and so forth. And then at the bottom, you'll see all the Light World and Dark World overworld checks. So you do have to be familiar with what you're looking at and how you're supposed to find it. And interesting note, I called out that Duke did not get the chest in Blind. That was a full heart container. And like we talked about, you're going to see low percent plays. rdwalsh wanted that, right? Wanted to spend time to get that.
Absolutely. Cape pick up there. We got the map of Thieves Town. And back goes to Hosrilla's hut. Tim with 2 eyes is asking, can they look at the spoiler log while they play? The pilots can. The pilots can have it open. The runners, in this case, Walsh and Duke, cannot look at the spoiler log. So they are respectively relying on Hazukitty and Roach to guide them in the correct path there, as Duke finding the mirror in the mini Moldorm cave, and that's all that he wanted out of it.
Yeah, and we do see some new ground here up at Uncle. He didn't get either of those, actually.
I think Walsh just wanted the magic.
Oh, that's a good point. So something worthwhile up in Agate Tower. So using the cape to get through this barrier. He only has access to the first chest. The second chest will require a key.
Right. Now there could be something really important up here that that Hazukitty has directed Walsh toward at the start. So we'll see exactly what the... And we're seeing Duke go get that cape now, so there must be something in this first chest. We just don't know what.
Oh, and actually, he does have a castle tower key. So both chests are in play, but of course, Aga himself is not.
Right. The thing that's going to be really difficult comparatively is that Duke's got the lamp already, so Duke can go upstairs to the dark location, but Walsh could possibly go up there, but it's a lot more difficult. Just get the shield. Yeah, it looks like we're going to go upstairs. Must be that second chest. Must be the... Oh, actually, yeah, we got the lamp. We just don't have it marked on the tracker. That happens sometimes. There we go. Thank you to our wonderful tracker for doing that. Flute, yep, that would be important.
I figured it had to be either something like flute or boots. Runners will prioritize those. You want movement very quickly in this mode.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So that's going to be very helpful. And again, very quick shout out here to Bandman, who is doing the tracking tonight. Sometimes the tracking backend software does eat input, so if you see something that's not been marked, sometimes it just takes a couple extra clicks. But never fear, we'll make sure that it's all taken care of here. And Duke going to get that chest. Canis Samaria. That's all. It looks like that's all he wanted. Or at least that's all that he could do right now, given that he doesn't have the key yet to get further back into Eastern Palace, or have the bow to take care of the Armos Knights, unless he wanted to do the painful, long way of killing them. That'd probably be too much time, unfortunately.
Yeah. So one thing you almost never see in a pilot spoiler race is a map check, right? We've not seen one, but we do have all of those locations marked off for you on the trackers. Those locations do exist in the spoiler log. So we've got Green Pendant on Desert Palace, our 5-6, our Pod, and Thievestown, and you got Ice Palace and TR as your other two pendants.
Yep, and it looks like Duke's gonna go get that flute right now as well. Old man being rescued here. Could be multiple reasons for doing this. Could be an item, or just could be getting that's big key. I would say Eastern Palace big key. That's a good reason to go get the old man. I was also gonna say sometimes it's just nice to have that that restart spot up at the top of the mountain. Makes your travels a lot easier.
Now, interesting, when Duke goes up there, he's going to have access to Spec Rock and Tower of Hera, having found that mirror. And Walsh is going to be able to go, well, he needs a bow, but he's going to be able to go all the way to the back of Eastern once he gets there. Duke was not able to.
Yep, and we're going to the sewers now. There's something back here, apparently, that Hazukitty has directed Walsh toward, so it'll be very interesting to see what's back here. And there's Duke picking up the flute. And I think one of the other things too, having the pilot here is a key to Dark Palace. Ooh, interesting. But yeah, one of the things to keep in mind is, as a pilot, when you're communicating with your runner, you need to be very clear on where you're directing them, because you can have a situation where you may send them to a location, but they may go for the wrong chest. So you want to make sure that you're clear. Hey, this location, this chest, this item. Just being precise about it.
Yeah, it's certainly not easy, and the dynamic changes over the course of the run. The first 30 minutes are very stressful for the pilot, who has a lot of information to parse through, and then the second half of it, the pressure's all on the runner, who just has to execute in whatever configuration he set up in.
Whoa! Did you just see that?
Yeah, I did.
I think Duke's going back to get it now, but that was I would say a small error not picking that up the first time through. He is going to go back and get it now, so it's not super time consuming. Mostly just going to be walking back, but I think that tells me that's just something that I think it just tells me you kind of get the idea here of excuse me, I stifle a cough, but you get the idea of how each pilot may be reading the spoiler log perhaps a little bit differently in like order, and they might be looking for specific items within that. So you're going to get a little bit of a divergence here between the two on maybe where they go, but they'll probably still go to all the same locations.
Yeah, it could have been worse. Like if you left something, I don't know, deep in Palace of Darkness and had to go back there. Mini Moldorm is not going to be a killer for you, if you hope.
Yeah, it's not terrible. It's not. Ooh, there's the Moonpearl. Hello. That's apparently what all we were going in there for now, which is not a bad reason to go in.
Yeah, that hookshot gives them access all the way over to the east side of Death Mountain. You've got Paradox Cave, you have Spiral Cave. You can scout out the floating island location.
Yep. Yeah, this will give a little bit of info to us on maybe what each team is thinking. Be in the bottle and a key. It's a key to Ice Palace, so that may be useful if we have to go in Ice Palace or anything. Obviously, it's dependent, so it may not be required at all, but we shall see.
Ooh, there's our first glove, and with that, we're a hammer or another glove away from Dark World access.
Yeah, it looks like that was just an intentional death warp there, wanting to get back out.
Okay. Now here's something interesting. We had Walsh pick up the Castle Tower key on Spec Rock. Duke skipped it, and Walsh is headed back up to Castle Tower.
Yeah, Vega's required. It's not a situation where it's like a game killer for Duke, but that's just a little bit more backtracking that you don't have to do. Ooh, and Duke taking a death. I don't think that one was intentional.
Yeah, gonna have to climb back over there, get that glove. On his way, he will likely pick up that Castle Tower key too. But this is what we're talking about. It's not easy doing these dungeons on 3 hearts. The game expects you to have 6-7 hearts by this point.
Yep. Yeah. I always make mention of this in any seed where we have early Dark World. Game doesn't care that you're going in with 3 hearts green mail. It's not going to hit you any less hard than it would normally. It does not adjust for that. So you just have to be really careful if you're doing that, or if you're doing like low percent, something like that. You've got to be careful with your spacing and maintaining your health, and just not getting yourself in a bad situation.
Helps to know where those hearts exist under pots. So Walsh picked up some in that dark room in the Agriclimb. There are plenty of places you can pick up a heart or two. Just got to know where they are.
Yep. That's very much a situation too, where if you find a heart at the right time, or even finding a piece of heart at the right time, you can, you know, save a run, save a race just by getting a full heart refill or getting enough hearts to not die.
You know, we're back here at Castle Tower, this time to defeat Agadim. Chad pointed out that actually looks like a required double dip. The flute was in that second chest, and the moon pearl was up in Hera, so you really had no access to get that moon pearl otherwise. That's not very fun.
Nah, it's one of those situations. A lot of these dungeons, especially the crystal ones, you really don't want to have to go back in twice.
So Nihan, we're heading up to Aga. Got a question. How many blue balls do you think we'll see?
I'm just gonna say 4. We'll go with a nice even number.
Okay. I'll go with another even number, 0. I think technically 0 is even.
Yeah, 0 is just 0. So
Well, I'll go with 0.
But yeah, 0 is like the super kind route. And of course, one thing to keep in mind is you're always going to get a regular fireball on this first one, and the 5th one is always lightning. And there's 1.
Wow, this is not a kind Aga today.
No, this is brutal. This is brutal. 3 already. And there's that 5th attack in there. There's that lightning attack. Number 6 always going to be a regular fireball. Okay, that's not too bad. Just need 1 more. No, actually, it's going to be 3.
Yep.
Our little jam from Schoolhouse Rock here. 3 is indeed a magic number. You know, it is the number tonight.
All right, so whenever you have to do Aga, you always got to think, what's my next plan? What's the next step? They don't have a hammer. They can't really go south here. They could hook shot over to the Village of Outcast area. They could dip pod if they really wanted to.
I wonder. We saw Walsh specifically go get that pod key. I think pod dip might be. No, it's actually going to be a hook shot play. I was wondering if there was something in pod that was a situation where it might have been worth it to dip in there and then pop out and go do something else. But it looks like it's going to be hook shot over and probably Village Outcasts we go.
And along the way, well, he's skipping the Graveyard Ledge. I was going to say he could scout that out and Bumper Ledge as well. Has the cape, so if there's something in there, he could get that. All right, straight for Thieves Town. It is one of our 5-6. He has no hammer and no small. He's got the big key. So that big chest is not really consequential right now, it looks like. Okay, pod big key. So more and more, it's looking like we'll make our way over there in due time. Walsh shaking down his Agaphyte. Going through all these blue balls as well. I think there was a total of 5. Or 3, actually.
Yep, should be 3 unless get a mistake here from Duke. So yeah, the one thing that I'm gonna need to see here is if we've got something in that chest. And of course, this being key sanity, simply finding the everything but the small key in that in their search through here does not mean that they're not double dipping back in here to get something later. But the positive, because we have the spoiler log, is that we know that what's in that chest, we know we may not even need to touch it.
Duke finishes off Aga 1, gets into the Dark World. Doesn't go pick up that key off of Pyramid, though.
So I'm kind of curious at this point how linear the seed will be as far as, you know, is there a very clear optimized path that both teams are going to have to take through this dungeon, through these dungeons, and even through the seed here, or is there some possibility that we could get some divergence at some point here? I don't know. That's a good question. I hope we'll get the answer to.
Yeah, so 23 minutes in, 24 minutes here. We have roughly half of the items we're probably looking for this seed. And if you found a whole lot more at the beginning, I'd say that's where, Titan's Bits. That's where the divergence would come in play, right? You have many more options available. Here, this one looks like it's on rails.
Yep, which might make it a little bit tough, not necessarily impossible, of course, for Duke to, you know, pull back time here. There's still plenty of seed left to go, but you know, the more linear it is, the more difficult it really becomes in any sort of race if you're behind to catch back up, because you don't have these plays that you can make. You don't have these, you know, gambles that you can play off of to try and do something earlier and then maybe have it pull out, you know, a little bit of a gap here. It's all really when it's really linear, it just becomes an execution race and not making mistakes.
Yep. Speaking of no mistakes, we got a really good blind fight from rdwalsh. Small key to Ganon's Tower and our first crystal here at 25 minutes.
Yes, indeed. Duke's not terribly far behind. Still has about half the dungeon left to go here. So I kind of wonder here if there's a difference, and maybe we can talk to our pilots or at least the runners after the game about how each team is approaching routing here, because there are a couple of ideas on how to do it, and I don't necessarily think there's a wrong answer to do it. It's really more of a comfort way. Do you decide to basically look through your spoiler log and start pulling out key items first? You know, do you do that, and then you go back in and you fill in the blanks? So do you kind of do it more progressively, where you kind of see, okay, here's where I'm, you know, you kind of set yourself up with your first checks here, and then you kind of think about, okay, where does that lead me to, and then you kind of try to go from there. I feel like both ways, depending on how comfortable you are, you kind of have a choice there that makes sense.
Yeah, we didn't get a chance to talk to the pilots after their first game yesterday. I would really like to get them in here for the post-game interview. I've seen a lot more, or heard maybe more pilots, and myself included, go for that ladder route. You want to get your runner on kind of a path where he can follow, and then you can say, okay, now that we're finished with this, we're going to pick up X and Y out of such place. There's a few exceptions to that. You typically prioritize some maybe some early weapons or the boots or maybe a flute. But other than that, it's kind of crazy how you got to process this.
Yeah, this is not like rally driving here, where you go through the day before and you're able to write down track notes, and then you're just like executing from those track notes. Day of the rally event, you're having to. This will be kind of the equivalent, and I say this as somebody who enjoys motorsports and rallying. This is the equivalent of having someone hand you the track notes and you having to look them over and read them as you're driving down the track. It is not easy to do. It is not easy to do at all. So, definitely, you have to know, as a pilot, you have to know, like, we've talked about this a little bit before, and we did see Walsh pick up the hammer there in Skull Woods, and I assume Duke will probably head over there shortly as well. You do have to have an idea of where you're going, and there's the boots and checkerboard cave on Walsh's side. Those will be a sight for sore eyes.
Those are pretty deep boots, logic-wise. Lot of items needed to get to that checkerboard cave.
Yeah, those are pretty deep in there. Looks like Walsh pausing here for a moment.
Yeah, just probably having a conversation with Hazukitty.
Yep. Looks like we are going to get the check here of whatever's in the Gina. Smoky the Swamp Palace as well. On Duke's side. I believe we saw Walsh pick that up earlier. Of course, and there's the big key to GT. Yeah, that's going to be required.
Oh, yeah. Can't get away from that one. Now, one thing here, we now actually have full access to Misery Mire. We don't have the big key yet, but with that Samaria that DukeFireBird picked out of Eastern Palace, we have the medallion, we have a hookshot, and now boots. You may see somebody end up dipping there if there's something in the front. That's scary.
Yep. There's big key at Tower of Hare, Bonk Rocks, so boots immediately paying dividends there for tile roomies. We're seeing Duke go get that hammer indeed. Just trying to get the Wallmaster there to cooperate. And there's our second sword upgrade in King's Tomb. So boots were definitely a smart play there from Walsh and Hazukitty. And it looks like Duke's heading over there as well. Now, like you said, Lumaga, this could be an interesting divergence here on path choice. If there's something hiding out in the front half of Misery Mire, and you can go in and dip it now, and it's going to be something that will get you, a nice advantage here. You may see Duke and Roach go for it. It'll be very interesting to see here. But yeah, Duke grabbing those boots as Walsh is heading up to the top of Dark World Death Mountain.
For something in Misery Mire, in the front of Misery Mire, it really better be worth it on 3 or 4 hearts and green mail. That's going to be a rough one to get through. Ooh, a third sword
and flips.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super Money Cave showing out. Duke going and checking is in the shed. I don't think we saw this. Small key to Dark Palace, or Palace of Darkness, as is also called.
I don't believe that Walsh did do that. He still only has one small key, and he
Correct.
picked that up I believe, at the pyramid.
Right, and Duke's going to get the GTB big key now.
That's a very nice hook speed parapod.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's falling down here. Looks like there's something in the big chest of bow. Yeah, that'll be welcome. So we had boots locked bow in Tower of Hera. And everybody's favorite worm-like creature, Moldorm, is saying hello to us. Hello, Moldorm. Goodbye, Moldorm.
Yes, he's quickly saying goodbye, too. All right, Hera big key coming up for Duke. And see where these two go to at this point. Oh, we haven't seen Ice Rod Cave. Interesting. We've had access to this the whole time, just maybe not an opportune time to get it until now.
Yeah, or maybe just it wasn't something that we really needed until now with our routing. Oh, he's just picking up a heart. Okay, that's why we didn't see it. And Duke picking up a death, unfortunately. I don't know if that. I don't know. Is that maybe a death warp up to Death Mountain? We're heading over to the waterfall cave, though.
Well, there's your final piece to Misery Mire. And if that's where he's headed, that makes perfect sense. Why you'd go pick up an extra heart container while you have the chance.
Yep. He's going to the Dark World, so this is the swamp area portal.
Yeah.
Could be Hype Cave, could be into Swamp Palace itself. There's a lot of possibilities why this could be the choice, but we shall see in a moment.
Yeah, lots of things could be hiding in Hype Cave, and we do have that swamp small key, so can get to it. Have everything else to get through it.
Yeah, let's see what's in Hype Cave here. But we got an interesting play as well from Duke, who has decided to go topside. There's Fire Rod, piece of heart, 300 rupees, and this one key to GT. Yeah, Duke's taking the opposite path to get to those two chests here. Gonna get those flips and the tempered sword.
So that's the Fire Rod, and Walsh is missing the Cane of Samaria. Is that no mode for us?
Yeah, it might be, I think.
Yeah, just missing that Samaria out of Eastern Palace. And Duke himself is missing the bow here. He'll get it in Hera.
He needs the Fire Rod. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, and Not surprised that we're in no mode this early. Not surprised in the least. You usually get that pretty early on in these piloted seeds, and a nice took a little bit longer, but still a very nice hair pot clip with the hook shot from Duke as well. He's going to get that. He's going to get that bow just the same. Yeah, I think maybe we've got a little bit of a routing difference here, just between Walsh and Duke. Simply, I think Walsh will probably go get that. I think it's probably going to be pod EP back-to-back play, and then probably right over into Misery Mire. To me, that makes logically sense why we're still waiting for that Candace Samaria.
Yeah, that would make sense. And that since we're in no mode here, it makes sense that a death deep in Swamp Palace.
Yep.
It makes sense that they would only need to pick up one key for Palace of Darkness. You only need one to get into the boss room.
So actually, while we're sitting here, let's just very quickly go through and verify that we are in no mode here, because we're also gonna need to make sure we've got all the big keys that we need to.
Well, Skull does not require a big key.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So I think with Meyer, I think that is all the big keys that we need. Yeah, I mean, poor Walsh here, having to make the walk all the way back to go flip that switch again.
Yeah, it has to make a second trip into here, and without that Cane of Samaria, no chance for a diver down play. Skip that area entirely.
Yep. Meanwhile, Duke is going to be picking up all of the items that we already saw. Picked up from our good friend Walsh. And just needing the Meyer big key now. He will be in go mode. He's got all the items except for that Misery Mire big key.
Yeah, and there's an instance of there's a safety right in front of you, right? You've got the blue mail sitting in the flooded chest. You might as well pick it up. If it were somewhere else in this dungeon, compass room or left side swamp, you might not get it.
I would say definitely. We'll probably see both of them go pick it up here. And the Argus fight. Taking them one at a time. No, nothing fancy here. Just going to chew through those puff balls and get to the big guy.
So fourth crystal pickup does have Skullwood's Eastern Palace, Palace of Darkness, and Misery Mire. For Walsh, we can add swap to that with DukeFireBird. Third crystal pickup, excuse me. Yeah, I think you were right. This is going to be a combo Eastern and pod play for tile roomies. So if you like what you're seeing here, right, be sure to check out the schedule for more Link to the Past Randomizer here on Speed Gaming channels 1 through 6, and the Link to the Past League channels on Twitch, I believe 1 through 5. Also be sure to give these runners a follow. Both rdwalsh, DukeFireBird, putting out a great show for us. And lots of credit goes to their pilots, Hazukitty and Roach. So give them a follow as well. Not to leave anybody out, our tracker Bandman25, doing a great job keeping us on task. Nihon Tiger and I, Lumaga, have been your commentators for the evening. Why don't you check us out too?
Absolutely. And of course, it's always a good time to remind people to, if you're interested in seeing more Rando, plenty of it coming up here. Of course, we've got the whole Speed Gaming family of channels that we're rebroadcasting to, like tonight here. So, you know, it's Speed Gaming and the channel you're on right now, as well as Speed Gaming 2 through 6. They are all part of the family, and we've also got the ALTTPR League channels, which is ALTTPR League, and then adding 2, 3, or 4 after that will point you in the direction of other matches that we've got streamed, both for, I think, every once in a while maybe we have an invitational. We have a lot of matches that we got to restream, but mostly those are the I know we've been doing a lot of the open league matches on those channels as well.
Yeah, actually, you mentioned a good point. So there are two kind of like tiers of leagues here. There's the open league, which any team could join if they had a team of 3. And there's the Invitational League, who was handpicked based on their standing in the last season of League. It's really made for some competitive races across the board. The Invitational League was anybody's game this year. You know, you can check out the standings, see how competitive it is. And the Open League really gives everybody a chance to enjoy this format as well. It was a really great idea, but for the admins to do this.
Yeah, I think it's really cool because it gives a lot of, with the Open League, we get a lot of people who might just be getting into this kind of idea a chance to get comfy with it. And one of the things to keep in mind is that the Open League winner is going to be in Invitational League next season. So they are guaranteed, I believe if I remember right, that their prize for winning is they get a guaranteed spot in the Season 4 Invitational League.
Yeah, definitely some incentive to do well in the Open League. It's top 4 teams.
Yes.
And conversely, the ones who do not do as well in the Invitational League will be relegated to the Open League in the next season. So top 4 from Open, bottom 4 from Invitational, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe you are correct. JP is mentioning that in chat as well, so that should be accurate. And yeah, I kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, but it looks like the tile roomies are thinking, you know, the back-to-back play here. We just saw Walsh go into and beat Pod. There we go at 45 minutes 21 seconds. Tile roomies and rdwalsh are in go mode, picking up that Kane Samaria. That was the idea all along here. And they will probably see him go to I would say Misery Mire next, and it looks like Skull Woods will actually be the final dungeon.
Yeah, perhaps. So it is a good heads up play for Hazukitty and Walsh to make that call. You kind of decide early on, you know, what order your dungeons can be done in, and they figured Eastern can be one of the late dungeons.
Yeah, traditional play actually, if you can swing it, is to try and do. If you have to do Palace of Darkness and Eastern Palace, if you can do them back to back, it just saves so much time. It's very, very traditional if there's a need if they're both crystal dungeons and there's a need to do them back to back, you try and do them back to back just because you save so much time. Especially the case here because we're pretty much doing them in go mode. And actually, I should mention as well that Duke's got that key as well from Misery Mire, so he's also in go mode. But he's about a dungeon behind right now.
Yeah, a little bit under 2 dungeons. It's got Olive Pod, and then he'll have to go all the way back through Eastern anyway.
Right. He'll have a little bit shorter of a journey through there, but yeah, it's gonna have to do that as well.
And very impressive. He's still on 4 hearts. Walsh has picked up a few more hearts along the way, and Duke hasn't.
Yeah.
I mentioned Jamie Sure, he's the actual third tile roomie he was racing yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, it happens. But yeah, we talked about this very briefly at the beginning here about how comfortable you are executing at a low percent. I think we're just seeing a little bit of a difference here. I think Duke's pretty confident having 4 hearts, being okay with that, and indeed we're seeing Walsh go and set up for Misery Mire here. I think Walsh and Hazukitty have decided to grab a little bit more safety on the heart front, and I can't blame them if you can pick up some hearts along the way, and it's not really gonna impact if you're not going like 10-15 seconds out of the way to get a heart container. You can get one along the way, and it might cost you like 2 seconds. Might not be a bad idea, especially if you're gonna try and run it pretty low percent.
Yeah, the philosophy, I guess, in hearts is a bit different here than in, say, in Open 7-7, where the way I view it is, if there's a full heart container just out in plain sight, I'll go ahead and grab it. But I'm going to get enough small pieces of heart kind of forced on me along the way where I'll be comfortable with the heart count at the end. This is a little bit different where you do know where everything is, and it's up to you guys as runners and pilots to decide how much you really want to get and spend that time.
And Duke's now fighting the Helmasaur King, using that hammer to crack that face shield. Meanwhile, Walsh making the journey through the big scary dark rooms here, which not quite as scary when you got that lamp. Still a little tricky, especially Blue Meal 6 hearts. Going to be a little bit tricky, but definitely easily doable.
Yeah, and you did call this out that Skull Woods is going to be the last dungeon for the tile roomies. After this, I don't believe this fight will be too dangerous. It's going to use the cape strats and avoid these hits. A little bit different cape strats than I would have figured.
Yeah, usually you just see him go for the usual cape strats for anyone who's wondering about that. I mean, it worked. I'm not gonna. I think if you're Walsh, you're just like, it works. It works. Why not? Why not complain? No reason to complain about it.
Sure. Well, what I was thinking is, he could have just equipped the cape and then spammed his sword, slashing at the eyeballs. But hey,
Right.
He gets his 6th crystal. I'm not going to complain about that.
Yeah, I mean, whatever gets the job done. If it works, it works. But yeah, usually when we're talking about cape strats on that, especially when you've got boots, is you'll just see someone go up and they'll equip the cape and they'll just dash back and forth with the boots to kill all the eyeballs.
Yeah, that's another valid strategy. Before he goes anywhere, let's spend some money and get a quick upgrade of those arrows. He's on 0 and is going to need some to get through the tower.
Right. He's going to spend a little bit of money actually and get upgrades for both of those. And of course, the nice thing about that is that's a full refill.
Yeah, here's that 1 heart container.
Yeah, that's one of the things too that I actually kind of was happy to see Walsh do that. With your routing decisions, you can route in those pieces of heart, and if you have 3 of them and you pick up the 4th one, obviously you get the full refill on your heart. So you can have that as kind of like a safety in case for some reason you get really low health and you know there's a heart piece up ahead, and you can get to that. You can just pick that up and you get your full refill. So Andy, it looks like Duke will be heading into Misery Mire here, and about to get that 7th crystal for Walsh, and he's going to be very happy to be heading on up to GT after this. Duke's, yes, we got the bird toss.
Yeah.
Love a good bird toss or a bird tote or a bird smash. Those are just anytime. Anytime you see something like that.
Yeah, all these little bits of swag, it's tradition. You got to do it.
Well, you don't have to do it, but it's nice to see people do that.
No, he has to do it.
Can we write? We need to write that into the bylaws for season 4.
Sure.
Then, if we're gonna make it mandatory.
When Meyer is ether, you must do the bird toss.
I'm always partial to bird tote, which is where you pick it up and just walk inside with the bird.
Yeah, we'll propose it and see how far it gets. Yeah. Meanwhile, we got a moth fight going on.
Indeed.
Oh, it's over.
Yep. Also, indeed. That's not a surprise. Here's the GT compass and 7 crystals now for Walsh. Yeah, that was very much a quick fight. Going in there with Fire Rod, Tempered Sword, and cape and all that, that's going to be a less scary fight than it normally would be. Oh,
that guard just knocked him out of the way for the duck.
Yep.
The guard there, of course, because we beat Aga 1, and you see a lot. You see the guards kind of upgrade in power in the overworld, and there's a few more in places they weren't there before after you do that. Well, this is pretty much all set for rdwalsh at the end here. Like I said, the dynamic shifts from the pilot to the runner, and there's nothing else for Hazukity to pilot, right? We have the big key. We have enough small keys in Ganon's Tower to get up there. All that's left is for Walsh to make use of the equipment he has and get up there to kill the wizard and the pig. So we make another count on the Immortal side, picking up the Misery Mire crystal. Did take care of Vitreous, and now we've got one more dungeon on their end.
And of course, the answer for today's GT Big Key guessing game is everybody's favorite number. It's 0 because it's outside of GT. That or like a null string, but I fear that doing that would probably like actually break Sahasrabad. And for those wondering the exact location of where the GT Big Key was this time, it was in Agina's cave. We picked it up quite a while ago, but now seeing Walsh make the trip up toward the tippy top, take on Agina once again.
Despite those heart pickups, he's still got to be careful. Down to 1.5. There is the hospitality room just across the Cannonball Bridge, though.
Yeah, it is indeed. So I just got to make it across here. Going to use that cape. I would guess, Lumaga, that will be the play here. We'll see him kind of bonk across and go to the hospitality room right here. Yep.
A little aggressive on the bombs.
Just missed. Yeah, there we go. Not having much luck with the bombs, but does have a bit of a comfortable lead, so can afford to miss a couple. All
right, Duke actually took a death here on Mothula. Unfortunate.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. Hate when it happens. I hate to see it in the run, but it's a very tough fight. You know, four hearts blue mail is going to be really, really difficult, and not going to be fun. Not going to be fun to go through that again. Yeah, Hazu's actually mentioning in chat here, and this is a good point as well. At this point, you know, when your runners in go mode and your runners just like all execution, you kind of become like their coach or their crew chief in their way, and just kind of like keep them, you know, their spotter, just kind of keep them focused on doing what you got to do to get this done and being safe and being smart. And just to mention real quick here, we're probably not going to see silvers. They are in the big chest in Desert Palace, which was a pendant dungeon. Nobody's got the big key yet for that either, so they're going to be locked quite away here in this seed. So we'll be seeing some silverless plays from both Walsh and Duke tonight.
Yeah, you did mention that the pilot kind of becomes a cheerleader, so to speak. That positive energy can go a long way to your runner. And one other thing you mentioned, Hazukitty here in the chat mentioning that while she's piloting rdwalsh, that is 100% allowed and legal in this week of League, right? There's no issue in the spoiler week with looking at this stream, looking at your opponent's stream. It's just kind of how it goes.
Right, because there's nothing really to spoil other than where the other player's at. And it's not really going to be... It's not as if you're going to spoil an item location or something by watching a stream, because you have it in front of you. So
exactly. And a few bombs for good measure.
Mm-hmm. Yep, last chest's going to have some bombs, and we get to do some math here in just a moment as we get to the Aga 2 fight. That's a double to start with. Not too bad.
This is a really good lineup.
Oh yeah, it didn't quite get the full fireballs there, but that was indeed a super awesome lineup. And he's gonna get a 0 there. So 2-2-0. This isn't too bad if you can.
No, he got a 1 on
Oh,
that
you got
third
1
one.
up.
Yeah.
So 2-2-1-1. Nice.
Yep, and as 1 exits the tower, Duke is entering the tower.
Yes, indeed. As Walsh being dropped off by the purest creature in existence. The duck.
The swag duck.
Yes. All right. Breakfast time. Trying to order that with this. Hopefully, with a side of bacon here. If you're Walsh.
So he's getting some good setups here to get some spins in the corner. It's really helpful, you know, being able to kind of mitigate any sort of damage, and also making good use of the cape. Oh gosh, he's really got to be careful.
This is where it could get a little tricky here. Phase 3 is not too bad. If you know, got the just got to deal with the warps really. And now on to phase 4. Here's our Desert Palace in that big chest.
No, Ganon, we did not find those.
No, we're not going out of our way to get those tonight. You can see these sword spins. So really, for Walsh at this point, all you got to do is just play it smart, be safe, don't get hit by the fire bats, do not hug the pig, and don't get bumped off the edge. Oh, he's got that potion too. Okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah, I actually didn't make note of what safeties he still had, but
yeah, I think we all forgot about that. That is good that he's got that. I'll make this. Gonna make this much easier.
You know, his setup for triples is actually being really good here too.
Yeah, that's a really nice execution there. And down goes the pig. So he should just need to press up here, and Walsh should have this. That will be very good news if you are a member of Tile Roomies. And indeed, we have finished here. So rdwalsh will finish in first place here with an official racetime.gg time of 1:04:54. Get your GGs in chat, everybody. And for Tile Roomies, another win moves them to 5-3, which tentatively, barring, I believe, the outcome of the Waffle House Drive-Thru's next match against Yutang Clan. I don't know if that's been updated yet. I know I saw that earlier. Did they update? I'll have to check here the schedule. I know they were playing earlier. I think that was just their first match. But yeah, the Tile Roomies, our expect's already updated on the site. Wow. You guys are so quick. Yeah, 5-3 now. And they tie for second place in Skull Woods division. So
yeah, just like we were saying, it's incredibly close. Let's see if we can get these runners and pilots in here.
Absolutely.
Okay, we do have in the room with us rdwalsh and his pilot Hazukitty, and we do have DukeFireBird.
Yeah.
GG.
Yeah, GG's.
GG's,
Hey
everyone.
there, Duke.
Yeah, GG's, Duke.
It's good to be able to face you. I remember like years ago you offered to help me teach me to play, and I just was too shy to say yes.
Yeah, well, proxy playing, I guess we'll count it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you played the team. You played the team.
yeah. So about having we had 2 double dip ACAs in a row. Logical, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, and the sad thing is, by the way, Roach is not joining us. But the major flaw in our thing was we did not notice it was an Agassiz.
I saw it very quickly, and I was like, okay, I'm looking for those keys.
Yeah. That coupled with the very low health too. That was not fun.
Green mail, fighter sword, Aga. I made really good use of the hook shot in there.
I've had 2 seasons and a lot of practices to get good at parsing the log very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, we
actually
had a thought to try to get the silvers, and then we're like, oh, that's not gonna work. Shoot.
We
I
kind of
was
heard
like-
about how rough of a.
Oh yeah, powder on the laser bridge.
Oh, we weren't
Quake
going
and
that.
Meyer?
We weren't going that route.
Nope.
No.
We were going the mushroom route.
I saw the moment I saw Turtle Rock, I was saying it's pen, and I was like, no, we aren't doing it.
You're not doing it, and then you find a required item, and then you're like, crud.
So you didn't do Diver Down. I thought we lost time there.
No, I actually Diver Down is a trick I do not have down confidently. So when me and Roach were practicing, I was like, okay, I attempted to do it. I wasted about 45 seconds on it, and I'm like, okay, I'm not confident. So
I'm pretty confident, but it's like one of the few things I can do.
It's tricky. I don't blame you for not going for it. I just kind of I just got really excited to get the fire rod, and I just forgot to do Eastern before that. But yeah, that's not as big of a time loss as the death. But I
prefer to leave.
About the deaths.
My routing is still pretty terrible, so I prefer to leave the big decisions to the runners. I just make sure they know where everything is, and I tell them where things are when they want it.
yeah. Ironically, though, from what I can tell, and from what I was seeing myself, and hearing, was we basically had the same route.
Yeah. Like Huzzer and I were kind of talking about that. Like I know, I think I remarked at one point that it's really helpful that we were taking the same route because that's good for the restream to give people a decent perspective. Speaking of which, we're on the restream. Hello, commentators. I'm sorry that we just kind of started interviewing ourselves.
Yeah, you guys never started interviewing us, so we just started talking. Sorry about that.
Oh, actually, my mic was muted. I totally apologize on that.
Oh,
welcome.
You're fine.
I wonder how
You're
long
fine.
that's been happening.
No idea.
Okay. Anyway, welcome everybody. GG's, and I
you.
do want to really talk about a couple things here. So, Duke, you ended up with 4 hearts. That is a really gutsy play. Were you just not interested in getting health?
It wasn't that. One of the last things that Roach routes for is health, because because the mindset is it's got to be somewhere. It's got to be somewhere where we can get to it. The only 2 that was made aware to me was the 2 bomb walls in Kakariko, and it's like, I don't have bombs yet. I'm not gonna bother. We'll get it later. We'll get some at a later date.
I presented Walsh the option of that there were 3 heart pieces in the well. If you need a heart, they will get you a heart. Go get them. I made sure he had the option.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she's giving me updates on the race. So at some point, it's just like, okay, I'm just gonna get these and just to be safe because I was getting a little bit rattled toward the end.
Yeah, the containers didn't seem particularly in the way.
No.
I told them the containers that felt pretty free, and that was it.
Yeah, and then I'm like, we're looking over, and both me and Roach were like, wait, where the heck did he get all this extra health from? we figured one of them was from 4 pieces of heart, and we figured one of them was the heart container in the blind hideout. That's what we thought.
Yep.
And then there was the one I think I was on. Wasn't there one
There's
on
an Ice Rod Cave.
a boss?
Ice Rod. That was too
Ice
far
Rod
out of the way
Cave.
for
There
us.
wasn't there one on a boss. What boss was it on?
No.
I could have sworn there was semi-free one.
No, because I've killed all the same bosses. I was only at 4 hearts, and I got 1 heart out of, was it Hype Cave? No, it wasn't Hype. It was somewhere. It was a chest.
Yeah, Roach is confirming Argus had one.
Oh, was it Argus? Okay.
Yeah. Yes. That's what I was saying. Our boss had one. There was Ice Rod Cave, Blind's Hideout, then
I could have sworn I had 4 hearts going
then
into
heart
Argus. Whatever. Everything's a blur.
Either way, I mean, the execution was there for both of you, really.
Yeah.
So
You had 3 hearts in Argus.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, so I do think one of the questions Maga and I were discussing a little bit during the race, were specifically for the piloting portion of this. Was there any strategy for how you were reading through the spoiler logs? I mean, for like, you don't have to give away like secrets or anything like that, but was it just kind of a situation where you routed out the start, or was it like...
I handle all the progression, not just progression items, but items in general in a specific order, accepting points where Walsh wants to know what's in a specific place or what specific item is somewhere next. Then I handle the big keys. Then I handle any necessary small keys. I use 4 text documents to do this.
Wow.
One whole screen is covered in text documents.
Yeah.
We're just saying... Nope.
That's Lumaga who was wanted to know? Hold up. I can get this in a few minutes and show you. Actually, a few seconds. Open original.
And
this.
Oh, sorry, Ozzy Kitty. But I was just mentioning that Roach is in chat, listening. So.
No, I'm showing you a screenshot.
Oh. Okay. Cool. But yeah, Roach is basically saying that they make an Excel spreadsheet, mark where all the items are, and spider web out from there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So he usually has me do, so basically the opening route is like, hey, just go do Kakariko. That gives me enough time. So it's like, okay.
Cool. So yeah, there's definitely some different strategies here, and it's certainly between both teams here. If anyone's wondering, what the pilots do, there's definitely a lot of work that goes into this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not simply something that you just kind of like, oh, this is easy, I'll just do this in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I put a lot of work into getting the reputation that made people say I was one of the best pilots last season.
Well, it shows.
I practiced a lot to get this down.
Well, that
2 wins
definitely
this week.
shows.
And I still remember that when I tried a spoiler seed, Walsh let me leave the silvers at the top of GT.
Yeah. Yeah, we
You don't need those. It's okay.
we discovered pretty early on that Misha and I were very good. That's backwards. Misha and I were kind of more on the button pressy side. We're not really more on the reader side. So yeah, Hazu's been killing it with the spoiler game. Yeah, he's been doing well.
I was studying for database administration at one point. This is my kind of thing.
There you go.
So let's just take a quick look at what's coming up next week. So Immortals, right? You guys are facing off against Team Kappa. There's Tier Agent, 1UP, and Gamachu in there. And Title Rubies, you're up against Utane Clan, Apathy Duck, Imosaru, and Solski. Any thoughts on next week, which is Mystery?
Oh, I know. If we win it all, it's going to be just Walsh, because I'm pretty sure he's the one running with me. That's correct?
Yeah, I'm running
Walsh?
with you, but yeah,
I
that's correct.
don't have the execution to pull off a win against any teams in the Invitational. I'm just kind of here. I'm along for the ride,
Don't sell yourself short. Don't sell yourself short.
Hey.
No.
Well, I do have my thing I'm good at. That's spoiler log.
Yeah, coming from the person who I believe didn't lose a single game last season?
Until I face
Correct me if I'm wrong?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So
Yeah,
give yourself some credit. Give yourself some credit.
Yeah, but Now I'm up against like the really, really good players. There's no one at my level left.
Well, look, I'm going to go ahead and say this. For chat who doesn't know, I know Hazu's first rando. I remember.
Is it 9:42:37?
Yep.
I think it was.
Yep. 9 hours, 42 minutes.
And the second one was like
And
8:30 something.
She stuck with it.
Yeah,
And we kept cheering
to be
her on,
honest,
and she ended up getting it. And
to
look
be
what she is
honest,
now.
I
She's
was
in the Invitational.
actually about to forfeit that first race. But then suddenly I'm rated by the Restream channel. I was like, okay, there's 200 people in my chat shouting, take my energy. I guess I can keep going.
Yeah, that was the whole idea. Because we're like, you got this. That's what we all saw.
Yeah, I don't think there were any mistakes in where teams were placed here. I think, Hazu, don't sell yourself short. You're here for a reason, and your teammates agree.
Well, thanks for the encouragement. It kind of helps.
I would 100% agree with that. The invitational teams, y'all are here because...
You're here for a reason.
Yes, you're here for a reason because you're good. So it might be a situation where, especially in this group, this is a very tough group. So
it helps that my teammates are very good.
Yes, it always helps. And both these teams are exceptionally skilled teams in playing rando and playing all different variants of rando as well. So
there's a reason I'm doing mystery. I like all the crazy stuff. I did that one OHKO thing from years ago. Back in was it first Plando?
Oh.
Did you catch that at all?
No, I didn't, but I have a war
7...
story about a Oko seed. Oh man, I have war stories.
It was standard Uncle Dungeons Keys Randomizer Oko.
Oh, fun!
I thought I'd get the other. I thought the other runner had better logic and execution. He finished like 7 hours something. I finished 13.
Well, Oko is a great equalizer.
And in my defense, that was still when we had that customizer glitch where big keys wouldn't show up on the tracker.
Oh, fun.
So I want to just make sure things are still moving. Hey, Duke, any thoughts on facing Team Kappa next week?
Yep, I was actually going to get ready to say that. So, to get from the derail. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be me and Julan. Unfortunately, with the mystery aspect of mystery, Roach thinks he's the weaker player. I do tend to play a little more of the crazier modes, so I do like inverted. I don't mind cross-world. I don't mind anything. I can do swordless, so... And Julan, of course, is... Julan is Julan. He's just that dang good. So...
Yeah.
Entrance is the only thing I can't do.
The only suggestion I will give you is get an entrance tracker and just take very good notes. That's all you can do.
Yep,
I can pair.
I mean, just imagine. Well, here, tell you what. We'll give you an entrance rando spoiler log. We'll give you one of those to parse
spoiler
through
log?
for a little bit. Yeah, that can be done. You can see exactly where all the caves go where. Maybe that'll help you. Not for your race, but maybe if you see it, you can be like, okay, now you might understand how the certain things work.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
looking forward. Race.
But yeah, looking forward to next week as well, and then of course the remaining weeks to finish off this season. It's been a fun season so far.
Yes,
absolutely.
I've enjoyed myself.
Yeah, we're a little bit more than halfway through the season. We have weeks 5, 6, and 7 left. Be sure to check ALTTPRleague.com for full details on the schedule. And be sure also to give these two runners and their pilots a follow today. Did a great job for us. Our tracker, Bandman25, and my co-comm and myself, Nihon Tiger. Hey, Nihon, I had a great time comming with you.
Absolutely, Lumaga. Had a great time comming with you as well. We do have, just very quickly to mention, we don't have channels assigned for any of these yet. So yeah, make sure to follow the SpeedGaming channels because that's probably the best way you'll know about these 4 matches that are coming up tomorrow. First one's at 9 a.m. Eastern, tentatively scheduled. And I don't know what channels any of them will be on yet, so because it hasn't been sorted out. But yeah, if you follow all of the SpeedGaming channels, you'll definitely know what's where when they go live.
Yep. And should also plug the ALTTPR League channels as well, because they sometimes handle some of the overflow as well.
Absolutely.
Just in case one of those gets bumped for some weird reason, because you never know.
All right. Well, GG's, everybody. Nihan, why don't you take us out tonight?
Absolutely. So remember, someone out there loves you. We love you too. Thanks for being here, everybody. We're glad to have you here for the ALTTPR League week number 4. Got a lot of good matches still to come, so stay tuned, and we'll catch you later. Have a good night.
Night.
See ya.
Bye.